The lights are on. The stadium is buzzing. Millions of tennis fans are watching from around the world as one of the biggest matches of the season is about to unfold. On one side of the net stands Jessica Pegula, the experienced American star and top seed, chasing another WTA 500 title. On the other side is Alex Eala, the fearless young Filipina who has captured the attention of the tennis world with an unforgettable run to the biggest final of her professional career. Just a few days ago, many expected this tournament to belong to the established stars. Instead, one rising talent has turned every prediction upside down. Alex Eala has defeated some of the toughest opponents in the draw, showing remarkable composure, aggressive shot-making, and the confidence of a player who believes she belongs on the biggest stages. Her impressive semifinal victory over Naomi Osaka didn't just earn her a place in the championship match. It announced to the entire tennis world that she is ready to compete with the elite. But the final challenge may be the toughest one yet. Jessica Pegula knows exactly what it takes to win at this level. With years of experience, multiple WTA titles, and a reputation for consistency under pressure, she enters this final as a favorite. Yet even Pegula understands that momentum can be one of the most dangerous weapons in tennis. A confident young player with nothing to lose can become nearly impossible to stop. So the question everyone is asking is simple. Can Alexandra Eala complete one of the most remarkable tournament runs of her career? Or will Jessica Pegula remind everyone why she remains one of the strongest competitors on the WTA Tour? The contrast between these two players makes this matchup even more fascinating. Pegula relies on experience, patience, and tactical precision. She rarely gives away free points and has built her career on consistency. Eala, meanwhile, brings fearless attacking tennis, outstanding movement, and a confidence that comes from defeating top-level opponents during this breakthrough season. Every rally promises to be a battle between composure and momentum. However, what makes the story even bigger goes beyond today's trophy. For Alexandra Eala, this final represents another milestone in a career that continues to rise at an incredible pace. Reaching her first WTA 500 final is already a landmark achievement, but winning would send an even louder message to the rest of the tour ahead of a North American hard-court swing in the U.S. Open. For Pegula, the stakes are different but equally important. Champions are expected to win matches like these. Expectations bring pressure, especially when facing an opponent playing the best tennis of her young career. One slow start or a few loose service games could completely change the momentum of the championship. Few people notice one crucial detail. Both players reached this final after impressive semifinal performances, but they arrived there in very different ways. Eala dominated Naomi Osaka with confidence from the opening games, while Pegula had a rally from an early deficit against Diana Schneider before taking control. Those contrasting paths could reveal plenty about the physical and mental battle we're about to witness. And that's exactly what we'll break down in this video. We'll examine how Alex Eala earned this historic opportunity, the tactical battle that could decide the championship, the key moments that may swing the final, and what this match could mean for both players as the hard-court season continues. Because this isn't just another WTA final. It could become the moment tennis fans remember as the day Alexandra Eala truly announced herself among the sport's biggest names. The championship match began with exactly the kind of atmosphere tennis fans had hoped for. From the first warm-up shots, there was a noticeable difference in the body language of both players. Jessica Pegula walked onto the court with the calm confidence of someone who has played and won many big matches. Across the net, Alex Eala carried a different kind of energy. She wasn't overwhelmed by the occasion. Instead, she looked focused, determined, and ready to embrace the biggest challenge of her career. That contrast made the opening exchanges especially intriguing. Pegula's strategy was never likely to be built around spectacular winners. Throughout her career, she has earned success by constructing points patiently, forcing opponents to hit one extra ball, and capitalizing on even the smallest mistakes. Her ability to absorb pace and redirect the ball has frustrated some of the most powerful hitters on the WTA Tour. Eala, meanwhile, arrived with a completely different blueprint. Her path to the final had been fueled by aggressive baseline tennis, fearless returning, and the confidence to attack whenever an opportunity appeared. Rather than waiting for errors, she had consistently taken control of rallies early, using her left-handed angles to move opponents out of position before finishing points with authority. That clash of styles promised a fascinating tactical battle. One of the first keys was the serve. Pegula's service games are often built around placement instead of sheer power. By mixing locations and changing pace, she aims to prevent opponents from finding a rhythm on return. Against an aggressive returner like Eala, every first serve becomes especially important because it can determine who controls a rally from the very first shot. For Eala, the return game has become one of her greatest strengths during this tournament. Time and again throughout the week, she stepped inside the baseline and attacked second serves with remarkable confidence. That aggressive mindset allowed her to apply pressure immediately, forcing opponents into defensive positions before rallies had even fully developed. However, returning aggressively also carries risk. Against an experienced player like Pegula, overcommitting on returns can quickly lead to unforced errors. Finding the right balance between aggression and patience will be one of Eala's biggest challenges throughout the match. But serving and returning were only part of the equation. Perhaps the most important battle would unfold in the baseline rallies. Pegula excels at extending points. She thrives when rallies become physical contests, testing both the patience and discipline of her opponents. Every additional shot increases the chance that frustration creeps into the other side of the net. Eala's objective, on the other hand, would likely be to dictate those rallies before they reach that stage. If she could consistently strike first, open the court with her left-handed forehand, and move Pegula side to side, she could prevent the American from settling into her preferred rhythm. The real turning point, however, might not come from spectacular winners. Championship matches are often decided by a handful of pressure moments. A breakpoint save with a courageous serve, a perfectly timed passing shot, or the composure to play high-percentage tennis when nerves begin to rise. Those are the moments that separate finalists from champions. Another fascinating element was the emotional pressure surrounding the occasion. For Pegula, there was the expectation of defending her status as one of the tour's established stars. Every favorite carries a burden of expectation, especially in front of a home crowd eager to celebrate an American champion. Eala faced a different kind of pressure. She carried the hopes of millions of Filipino fans following every point, many watching from halfway around the world. Yet throughout the tournament, she had shown an impressive ability to channel that support into confidence rather than anxiety. That mental resilience had become one of the defining stories of her remarkable run. Still, finals have a way of testing players differently. The scoreboard feels heavier. Every game seems more important. Momentum can swing in a matter of minutes, and small decisions suddenly carry enormous consequences. So, who would handle those moments better? Would Pegula's experience allow her to weather every storm? Or would Eala's fearless approach continue to surprise the tennis world one more time? As the match unfolded, every rally added another chapter to what was already becoming one of the most compelling stories of the tournament. And beyond the immediate battle for the title, each point carried larger implications for confidence, momentum, and the remainder of the hard-court season. One thing was becoming increasingly clear. This final wasn't simply about lifting a trophy. It was about proving who could rise to the occasion when the stakes were at their highest. As the championship continued, it became increasingly clear that this match was about far more than individual points. It was a test of identity, of who each player is under the brightest spotlight. For Jessica Pegula, the objective was familiar. She has built her reputation on consistency, discipline, and an ability to stay composed regardless of the score. Her game isn't always built around spectacular highlights, but that's precisely what makes her so difficult to beat. She rarely panics. She trusts her patterns, believes in her preparation, and forces opponents to earn every single point. Against many players, that approach is enough. But Alex Eala had shown throughout the week that she wasn't intimidated by rankings or reputations. One of the biggest reasons behind Eala's rise has been her willingness to play proactively. Instead of simply reacting to what her opponents do, she looks for opportunities to dictate the rally. That aggressive mindset has helped her compete with experienced players on the biggest stages, and has become one of the defining characteristics of her game. However, maintaining that style over the course of a championship match is never easy. Aggressive tennis demands precision. The margins are small. A forehand that lands a few inches inside the line becomes a winner. The same shot a few inches long becomes an unforced error. That's why decision-making becomes so important. The best players don't attack every ball. They attack the right ball. If Eala could recognize those moments consistently, she would put enormous pressure on Pegula. But as she became impatient, Pegula's defensive skills could gradually shift the momentum in her favor. Another fascinating aspect of this matchup was a mental chess match taking place between points. Elite tennis isn't just about physical ability. It's also about reading an opponent's emotions. When does a player begin to rush? When do they hesitate? When does frustration start to appear? Veteran players like Pegula are exceptionally good at identifying those subtle changes. A single long service game or a few extended rallies can influence confidence more than spectators realize. At the same time, Eala has demonstrated maturity beyond her years during this tournament. Rather than dwelling on mistakes, she has repeatedly shown the ability to reset quickly and focus on the next point. That emotional control has allowed her to recover from difficult moments and continue playing with confidence. It's one of the qualities that coaches often value most in rising stars. Talent can win matches. Mental resilience builds careers. Another important storyline extends well beyond Washington. The North American hardcourt swing is one of the most significant stretches of the tennis calendar. Every strong performance provides valuable momentum heading into larger events, where confidence often becomes just as important as technical ability. Regardless of the final outcome, reaching this stage already represents another major milestone in Eala's development. Competing deep into a WTA 500 tournament against elite opposition provides experience that cannot be replicated on the practice court. Those matches teach players how to handle pressure, how to recover after losing a difficult game, how to respond when an opponent raises their level. Those lessons often shape future champions. For Pegula, the perspective is different. Established stars are measured by consistency. Every tournament presents another opportunity to reinforce their position among the tour's best, and every title strengthens a belief that they can contend throughout the remainder of the season. That is why championship matches carry such different emotional weight for each competitor. One player is chasing another significant trophy. The other is chasing another step in an already remarkable journey. Perhaps the most exciting element of this final is what it says about the future of women's tennis. The WTA Tour continues to evolve, with experienced champions facing an exciting generation of emerging talent. Every tournament introduces new contenders capable of challenging established names, creating an increasingly competitive landscape where no victory comes easily. Alex Eala has become one of the most compelling stories within that new generation. Her progress has attracted attention not only because of the results, but because of the confidence, professionalism, and fearless attitude she has displayed throughout her rise. Whether she lifts the trophy or falls just short, one message has already reached the rest of the tour. She belongs in conversations about the sport's brightest young talents. And that realization could have long-term implications, not just for her career, but for every opponent who faces her in the months ahead. Because once a player proves they can reach this stage, expectations change. Opponents prepare differently. Fans watch more closely. Every tournament becomes another opportunity to confirm that the breakthrough was no coincidence. The biggest question now is whether this week marks the beginning of an even greater chapter, or whether it becomes a foundation upon which an even bigger success is built later in the season. Either way, the tennis world is paying attention. As the final reaches its defining moments, one thing is certain: tournaments like this can leave a lasting impact long after the final point is played. For Jessica Pegula, the mission is straightforward. A victory would reinforce her standing as one of the WTA Tour's most reliable performers. Winning big matches is what top players are expected to do, and adding another WTA 500 title will provide valuable momentum as the hard-court season continues. For Alex Eala, however, the significance of this week extends beyond a single trophy. Every breakthrough begins with a moment when a player proves they can compete with the very best. Reaching a WTA 500 final against one of the tour's established stars is exactly the kind of experience that can accelerate a young player's development. The confidence gained from matches like this often carries into future tournaments. Players begin to believe they belong. Coaches gain valuable insight into what works against elite competition. Opponents begin preparing for them with greater respect. That shift in perception can be just as important as the result itself. Another story unfolding alongside this final is the growing global support behind Alex Eala. Throughout her rise, she has inspired fans not only in the Philippines but also around the world. Her success has highlighted the expanding reach of tennis and demonstrated how emerging players from new regions can capture the imagination of a worldwide audience. That growing fan base brings excitement, but also brings expectations. Every breakout player eventually reaches a point where each tournament carries additional pressure. The challenge is no longer surprising people once. The challenge becomes maintaining that level consistently. That is often the hardest step in professional tennis. Many players experience breakthrough weeks. Only a select few transform those moments into sustained success. Whether Eala joins a group will depend on continued improvement, smart scheduling, physical fitness, and the ability to adapt as opponents become increasingly familiar with her game. The encouraging sign is that many of the qualities required for long-term success are already visible. She competes with confidence. She embraces big occasions rather than avoiding them. She has shown the willingness to attack when opportunities arise, while continuing to learn from every match. Those characteristics cannot guarantee future titles, but they provide a strong foundation for continued growth. Meanwhile, Pegula's presence in this final serves as a reminder of what it takes to remain at the top level year after year. Consistency is one of the rarest qualities in professional sports. It's easy to produce a brilliant performance. It's much harder to produce brilliant performances season after season against the strongest competition in the world. That is why experienced champions remain such valuable measuring sticks for rising stars. Every match against them becomes an opportunity to discover exactly where improvements are still needed. As the North American hardcourt swing continues, both players will undoubtedly take important lessons from this tournament. For Pegula, success here could strengthen her confidence heading toward the next major events. For Eala, this week has already demonstrated that she can challenge some of the biggest names on one of the sport's biggest stages. And perhaps that's the most exciting takeaway of all. Women's tennis continues to evolve, fueled by the arrival of fearless young talents eager to test themselves against established champions. Every season introduces new rivalries, fresh storylines, and unforgettable moments that remind fans why the sport remains so compelling. This final feels like one of those moments, not because it guarantees what comes next, but because it offers a glimpse of what the future could hold. If Alex Eala continues to build on the progress she has shown this week, today's performance may be remembered as another major milestone in a career that is still only beginning. And if Jessica Pegula once again rises to the occasion, it will reinforce why experience, composure, and consistency remain such powerful advantages at the highest level. Either way, tennis is a real winner. Two outstanding competitors, one championship stage, and a match that has captured the attention of fans across the globe. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this in-depth coverage, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest updates, match analysis, and breaking tennis news. We'll continue following Alex Eala's journey, Jessica Pegula's season, and every major story from the WTA Tour as the race toward the U.S. Open continues. See you in the next video.